Hey there folks, and welcome to the next 155 mile per hour Cup Tryouts. In this tryouts I am doing the Aston Martin V8 Vantage Grade 4. Alright, here's the parts and things you can do to the V8 Vantage Grade 4, which if you can't tell in the freaking name, it's a V8. I don't know how the heck you would not realize that, but yeah, unlike, a regular V8 Vantage where it's normally like 5 to 600 horsepower, this is detuned to like 257 horsepower. Which I say detuned loosely because technically they already detuned it at like 400 and I just detuned it even further, so. But it does make me wonder, what if you drive a V8 Vantage at 257 horsepower here, and all I gotta say is it's pretty good actually. It's like a very firm Mustang. Which I'll speak more about that once we get to the race. But yeah, basically here's the rest of the parts catalog at the end of it. It's not a whole lot, at best you can stick a supercharger. But yeah, that's just the standards of a grade 4 at the end of it and such. And not bad. Not bad. So on to the next thing. But yeah, no engine swap. Surprisingly, you cannot stick like, I don't know, I'm thinking like a 177 or something like that for that. But for the wheels here, you can't really do much here in this department either. As you can see, you just stay at standard size. But at least I gave it a nice orange color instead of this gray. Because yeah, I will say the gray did not fit for this case, so I had to give it an orange color. But if you do custom rims here, you increase the size. Gonna be honest, I don't know why you would do that. What is with them trying to be these low-time game wannabe kind of cars? I swear, or donking. They're just doing donking, yeah. But yeah, here's also the other bonus options you can do. You can change the lens to yellow, because I'm starting to notice, like, I think every... See, I thought the Mustang was the only one you could do the yellow lens to. No, you can do a majority of the cars, as it turns out. Which, I'm okay with that. The problem is, it's just yellow. It's not like orange, blue, or any other lens colors. It'd be really nice if there's a full consistent colors of lens, so you can just change the car to any color you want, in case you want to make that very versatile looking car, a very artistic looking race car. Because I know some people do that. But yeah, there's the transmission, so make sure to pause for the transmission there. But yeah, other to say for the setup, I technically didn't do a whole lot, and I'm gonna be honest, I think in this next future tune-ups, I'm not gonna be doing a whole lot because I'm probably gonna be a bit flavorless. Since now I know a better setup for this, considering now I've seen the speed of how much this hits at Brand Hatch. It hits like 120 miles per hour, so there's gonna be an indication of it being kind of smooth throughout all this. But here's the livery in case anyone loves this livery. It's basically the Grade 4 remixed into more of a flavor standard, unlike the flavorless that is pretty interesting for some art designers. I designed it to be more colorful. But the V8 Vantage Grade 4, to me, has always been this case. And I hate to be this diss track to it, but it's always felt like it though. But it's a good feel though. It's not like a terrible feel. It's actually a good feel. But the V8 Aston Martin Vantage to me, and technically the DB itself too, I always considered it. Well, actually this is technically more to the V8 Vantage because the packet's a V8. But the V8 Vantage to me is essentially the Mustang, if you turn it British, actually gave it grip and gave it independent suspension. Even though I will say, I think the newer Mustang has that. If not, then I'm wrong, but either way, I thought it did. But this one has always, the Aston Martin V8 Vantage, specifically this one, and not the newer one, not the horrible newer one, right? Because I still have a bit of this track with that other one because the fact that it uses a Mercedes motor, what does it make any different from Mercedes at that point? This one, on the other hand, is powered by technically a somewhat famous Jaguar motor that is the AJV8, as it's called, which is also powers the Jaguar F-Type. So you would think I'm gonna give the same crap to the Mercedes one because it technically is two sports cars using the same motor. I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm a hypocrite when I say this, but I kind of just prefer this one over the 2018 one at the end of the day, to be honest. Because I think it's because of the fact that, unlike the Mercedes one, which is a Germany motor, this is a British motor, because it's Jaguar. Jaguar's British. So, I kind of let it slide on this one's case. I won't let it wholly slide, because it's still technically at the end of the day, it's like, if you think about it, it's the same case with Toyota and Toyota Supra and the Z4 on that situation too. It's the same crap, more like, on that. And the best part is going to happen again with the Mazda Miata and the Toyota GT86 apparently, or GR86 apparently, so get ready for that one. But to say, yeah, they basically just share the motors at the end of the day, I don't know, maybe I should start just liking it more at the end of the day and not be a fucking hypocrite at the such. But to say though, the Aston Martin AG V8 is pretty good. It sounds really freaking good on top of it, but then again, so is the F-Type, so it's like, they both used the motor really good, and also to say that this motor's been around since 1996. And from what I read there, apparently even Lincoln Motors used it, and the Ford Thunderbird, the remade Thunderbird, that retro one I believe, also used it apparently. So yeah, this motor's been all over the place, so to say. I can't say much for the Mercedes one because I need to look into that one, but just say though, that's pretty good in that remark. I would say for the most case. So yeah, it's pretty good for a romper motor like this to just at the end of the day. And I think the Aston Martin V8 Vantage wears it pretty well. Now, in terms of cup races, as we look in the AI here, there is grade 4 dedicated racing for it, so this car is legitimately sort of real at the end of the day. It might be a little different compared to the actual GT4. There's also the Aston Martin Asian Cup, the AMAC. In other words, where they make a special AMR version of it, or an AMR Pro race car. It's like a street legal version, so it's like, that's one guy's claiming. So yeah, there's examples like that. There's also the Vantage Cup by R Motorsport too, so, and that's been around since 2020, so I assume that specifically means to the 2018 Aston Martin and such. But yeah, now to get back on track here, let's talk about basically the steering stat and the acceleration stat. The acceleration stat, as you see here on the straightaway, yeah, might as well talk about during the best lap here. Best time to show them up there, 112. So for 112, I would think around 7 out of 10 on that. That feels very basic for the most part. And considering hit a minute 9.3 something, not the greatest. While the turning, I'm gonna say a 4 on that. It's very firm. It's a very firm steering for this car. You will pitch it to where you want to get it to at the end of it. But yeah, hitting 109.3 there, which I'm not gonna lie, is not a very great time. As at best, it beats the NSX minute 09.412, but it does not beat the Honda M1, 2, and 4, or 2 plus 4. Which is a 1 minute 9.248. So, and considering it got beaten by the goat kart there, if you guys didn't notice there, on top of it, by the way, that tells you how bad. That tells you how bad this car might be hit at the end of the day. And like I said, at the brand hatch, it only did 120, which yeah, when I get to the revamp, I'm definitely fixing that up a bit because yeah, it needs to be hitting 125, not 120. It's just for now, I just got the old style, which is because I'm gonna keep it to the old style. I should just say fuck it, just do the revamp, but I don't really want to do that because they'll off course some things, and some competitors will be a lot tougher than it should be. Because I do plan to do like an AI race, but then again, I might just say F it. I might really just say F on that department at the end of the day. But for the balance segment here, which is I'm not really sure to really talk about besides stability, it's really good for the most part. There's like no really issues I can really think of when it comes to this car. It doesn't really lose out. It's nice, proper, and firm. So it's a very good machine for the most part. I guess I should mention the burn stats though. Is technically not the greatest after looking at it. It says about, what I'm seeing here is about 1/8 on the front tires when it came to the 8 laps of Iger Nordland. So not the greatest on that department. While on the gas side though, it's at least half, so it will last a while on the fuel side, but the problem is the tires needs to really back that up at the end. It's not gonna when it comes to the corner track, especially what I'm about to fear, what I'm about to do next here for the race, because as you can see, from the races we went from Laguna Seca to Tokyo Expressway to now, you can probably guess what's the next track for the race. But as of now, let's just see the Aston Martin go around the track, shall we? Don't worry, they're fun. But in terms of Laguna Seca, it's in 1 minute 34.212. It is beaten. Oh no, that's not being that. Ooh, pretty rough to say. He needs to beat the Cappuccino RX. So the Cappuccino RX is a minute 34.172. Yeah, I think it's safe to say this V8 Vantage is not really up to snuff. Knows how to go up there, but at least it's sleek while doing it. I guess you know, Darn Dick man should take back the whole Mustang a little bit, because at least the Mustang did a minute 32 for this case. Just oof for the most part. All right, let's see the best lap though, because I finally did eventually got a solid lap, which is a minute 33.743. You need to beat the Italia V8 Vantage. You need to beat the Italia. The Italia did a minute 33.692. Yeah, more reason to not revamp in the future, because that might fix some flaws like that, I would say. Because yeah, like I said, I noticed there was like one big old flaw when it came to doing that whole speed, because there was nothing but speed. So as a result, I am gonna do a track. I'm basically gonna do the speed just to ensure that, oh hey, it's gonna hit that speed no matter what. Because I also want to see in case the car hits max gears at the end of the day. And then whether it either have to wheel it down or wheel it up, whatever it needs to be to hit that destination or destined speed, I guess you can call it that. The destined speed to hit on the straight of that track at the end. But if it doesn't hit that, or if it goes over it, I have to readjust it. That's it. Yeah, onto the best lap here as we go around the corkscrew. But yeah, I hope this track doesn't get hit by even more fucking lawsuits, because good god, I've been hearing so much backlash to this track for some reason, and I'm not sure why, because it's a good freaking track. It's just problem is dealing with all the neighbor complaints because they're trying to make a suburban around the freaking track. Which, people have lately been doing that. They basically look at this track and go, oh hey, I could live next to a track. And then noise complaints. It's a giant plot for them to try to take over the lane at the end of it. And you know what? It probably actually is. It's the best part. But to Tokyo Expressway, at least one lap here. You're showcasing how fast you can go around Tokyo Expressway. Because in terms of top speed, I'm gonna say not the greatest either. If I recall, this hit like 136 miles per hour. It really wasn't the greatest, I'll say. But at least it just got there at the end of the day, and that's like the biggest problem about the V8 Vantage. It basically gets there. It doesn't really push on it, you know. So yeah, that's the biggest fundamental problem about the V8 Vantage in a nutshell. It's just not really the craziest, but it's there. There, and it's fancy over glorified cases. Yeah, because yeah, while I do say it's like a fancier Mustang, it really is kind of just a fancier Mustang sometimes to me. I hate to distract like so many people who like this car, because this car is pretty good. It's just kind of funny that Ford turns around and makes something similar called the Ford Fusion, and it's not only that, it kind of steals its due a little bit. That's surprising, like no loss to Titan, but then again, I think Ford has stocks in Aston Martin, so technically I think it's fine for the most part. I don't know. I don't know the whole gist so far since then in terms of business between Ford and Aston Martin and such, but hopefully get into the Aston Martin to where we used to be. Let's see if there's like any hidden points to this car at the end of it, because I haven't seen any good hidden points yet. Seeing as hit minute 48, 278. It's faster than Italia in this case. Which, yeah, speaking of, I should probably check the time between the Italia and the second. But yeah, they're re-looking real quick, because yeah, I forgot to even mention what was the time on that. Yeah, I did not beat the Italia. That's the thing goes. However, on the best lap here, let's see if it does even quicker. It's doing a minute 48.107. Will it actually break the minute 48? We shall see. But in terms of whoever he needs to beat next, it was the NSX Grade 4. The NSX Grade 4 did broke the minute 48 by being a minute 47.989. Studios. That did. But yeah, basically that. That thing goes. I'll see how fast I can get on the straightaway here. As this is the best lap, so technically this is the best of pace I did for top speed wise. You know, I'll say loosely. Because reminder in terms of if you're gonna be the fastest on time attack, you have to put it all in. You can't just put like 70%. And I'd put in 70%. Which would be inconsistent if this was the fastest top speed take here. But yeah, not minute, but 138 miles per hour. That amount of that key. That's a big key. So as we cross the line here, try to go to the chicane. Love that chicane. That chicane just reminds me especially. I think that's what this track is kind of just a big old reference. It's a big old reference to the special stage of itself at the end if you think about it. Because you have the downtown street section that feels like fire, and then you have 11's case was that chicane reminds me of the death chicane in 11. Even though they removed that when it came to Grand Turismo 3. A little bit. But overall, yeah, the VA Vantage, not really the greatest on that part. But so let's see what Vince can do. I'm just going to say, not much on that department either. Because it's A and A, and there's no NA events or any supercharger events. Where is the Gran Turismo? Where is those events? We really kind of need those events, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, otherwise, World Tour 600 at best. That's all I can kind of say. But we're going to Eiger Nordwin on 25 laps. Because yeah, I think I remember from last time it did take a bit when we put it on 26, so we'll lower it by 25. Going against the sports cars, which I'm gonna be honest, this feels like a bad idea because so sports cars, they are quicker, so you would think they burn tires more, but then you remember something. There's a Mazda Miata in the race. If you don't know about Mazda Miata in terms of weight factors, you know that they're pretty light, and when a car is pretty light, and this is a big reason why a car needs to be pretty light, by the way. It not only lowers the weight, it does less tire residue to the car at the end of the day. This is why weight is a very big important factor when it comes to cars. Because I know there's a lot of people that say, oh, weight doesn't do anything to the car at the end of the day. It clearly does to the tires, man. It clearly does, because you'll see a case here where my tires are going to be a big detriment to this race at the end of the day. And you saw a close case from the, I think, yeah, matter of fact, from Laguna's second. Laguna's second was also pretty tight too, as you saw that the Jaguar E-Type was like 10 minutes away from the, it wasn't Italia, right? I don't think it was Italia. It was, I think it was a Mustang. It might have been a Mustang, I hope I was right about that. But yeah, it was that close from that at the end of it. Then again, it also doesn't help. I also revamped all the contenders to be hitting 160 on the Tokyo Expressway straight, so yeah, they're definitely more juiced up. But then again, this would have got juiced up too. This would have went up to 125, but no, it's 120 instead. So, like I said, I kind of wonder sometimes if I should just continue this or don't. I'm definitely not gonna do the race though. The race is pointless. I'm just basically just gonna do the first 20 and just call it that. This is just how it is. This is just my old work. And now I'm going to move on to the new work. As it goes. It's a work in progress, but it's a work in progress I'm worth to go for, because in order to better yourself, you gotta see the flaws. If you don't see the flaws, you're doing it wrong at the end of the day. That's like, as a fellow American, you don't be biased to things. As the thing goes. But yeah, which is a big word that people forget when it becomes of being American, is not to be biased. But yeah, so that's like, I'm not biased to the V8. The V8's a motor, but the V8's a motor. To me, at the end of it, I know it's nice and rompy, but I didn't came for the romp. I came for the pace. But yeah, we got some sports contenders, and I didn't actually get to see the rest of the lineup, because I don't think I had the whole lineup there when it came to the sports cars. I think I had like half of them done and half of them not. But here's basically the full lineup in case I forgot, so say, if I did or not. I think I did got it done by then, but if I didn't, I did. I might have forgotten a car here and there still. That's my part. But yeah, basically we've got the E-Type Jaguar from the BRZ S Subaru Focus ST 2013, which very good car, I gotta say, for an FF, I gotta say. Very incredible. Got the FTO GP version, which actually handles out of the race at the end of the day very well, surprisingly. I know over time he's going in the back of the pack though. That's like the ABR 500. The ABR 500, I don't know why he does those stoppies, he just does those stoppies. Never understand that. Nissan Silvia Q, basically classic, probably like one of the best cars till this day in terms of performance. Because yeah, that's a car that hits a similar case to the Miata here, which the Miata is probably still like one of the best sports cars, especially how light it is. And especially for this track, because yeah, this track is going to eat me alive in terms of the tires on the Aston Martin, and you're going to be seeing a very tough case about here in the future in the next 3 laps here. Because yeah, like I said, I'm going to do the first 6 minutes of showcasing the first bit of the race, and then the 6 minutes at the end. As thing goes, for those that didn't saw the other one, so sorry. Yeah, I tried to at least bring it up to like 12 minutes at best of the race, so at least I could show a stance on where this car stands at the end of the day. Which, if I had to say in terms of endurance and sprint, I think sprint, it's kind of a C+. It's not really quick. It's just kind of just there at the end of it. And then endurance factors, I would also say C, because the tire wear is so bad. It's kind of just not the greatest. It's gonna burn out within like the 8 or 9 laps given here. So yeah, I had to pit twice. The Miata pitted once, by the way, and such. So it just a fun case. That's a fun case. In case there was one no. So yeah, he only pitted once, which was crazy. It's like, holy shit, he only pitted once. Because the last time I did, for those that don't know, the last time I did the Iger Nordman race with, I think the Scirocco, funny enough, I did that with the pedestrian sports cars. Which, when I say pedestrian sports cars, I still don't know a really good name for it to call it there. I'm thinking about just call it pedestrian cars, because technically the Miata is a pedestrian car. But to say though, when I say pedestrian, I mean pedestrian spec sports car. So it's like pedestrian, but sports of some type. You know what I mean? But to say though, during that race I was doing pedestrian cars, and pedestrian cars were, that's the best way to say it. They basically were flat out easy. They're just flat out easy in regards. They did provide a challenge. And I'm not gonna lie, I should have brought those guys back because they are technically up to stuff now. They are up to the 125 miles per hour given, and I got a bunch of new contenders I wanted to showcase too. So when I do another short track in the future, I might just do that to showcase them in the future. Because yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I felt like I technically should have showcased them, but it is what it is sometimes. My brain just wasn't there at the slightest when it came to doing this, and I was in a very much debate, and also I wanted to showcase that, yeah, when it comes to these sports cars, don't mess with them on the acceleration tracks. They will technically beat you in the pole, especially if you're a slow cup racer like me in this case, where I'm hitting only 120 miles per hour again on the brain hatch. Like I said, I'm gonna be adjusting every contender to 125 to get that excellent measure, so that way everyone can stay up to snuff. Because as you can see here, throughout the rest of this race here, as you can see, the pack is not too far apart from each other at the end of the day. Besides some contenders like the C1 Corvette who's burned a whole lot of fuel, or some that just backed off for some reason, because over time they just slack off like big time on their pace. Because yeah, the FTO, he's not up here anymore, he's in the far back. And as you can see here, the Unos Roadster is in second place right now, just kicking ass. Because the biggest thing about the Unos Roadster, or the Miata, is the tire wear. The tire wear is very great on that car. That car is, if there's one great thing about the Miata, it's its tire wear. This is why people do cup races with it, because not only it's a solid machine, it's a solid machine that can technically last forever if given them out the right tires and stuff. And the best part, you can boost that to 300 and it still wouldn't burn the tire very much, because it would actually do what it needs to do at the end of it. Now, I would say, when it comes to the Miata, in case you want to try to hit 300, you technically can't with that one. That one at best hits like 270, but if you punch it to like, if you add something more moderate for a motor, I can't say really much do something push to 300. And no, I'm not gonna say LS motor, because for God's sakes, no, not every car needs a goddamn LS motor. I will say, I know that's probably a good refined motor, but then again, if you turn around and take that LS motor, detune it, maybe that might be good. That might be good there. But again, the more I think about it, the more it might actually work. I mean, of course, the other case is sticking a RX 7 motor, which you can do that. So that's the other option you can do. But yeah, but basically, any of the heavy cars, considering me, I'm technically a somewhat heavy car. I think I weigh like 2,800 pounds. So I would say mid. And then I'm basically middleweight, basically. Because when it comes to cars, I consider 3,500 heavy and 2,500 less than 2,500 light. Where 2,500 to 3,000 is middleweight. And I would say that loosely, I would technically consider 3,250 a middleweight, because there is some middleweights that hit there too. It's very weird. It's very weird in that remark. But basically, that is the middle ground to always kind of just hit when it comes to the peak of performance of cars it sees. Until I see a different measure, and so to say, which you technically will when it comes to the corner track, because you technically want a light machine when it comes to corner tracks like this, so your tire wear doesn't burn up like it's on fire, so to say. Not literally though, it's just, you know, you'll definitely see in the rubbing. Considering I also had the bigger brother of mine. I keep forgetting I have this one, but yeah, I had the RX-8 in the race too, and yeah, he's not doing absolutely the greatest, to be honest. Did 14th in the spot, so. But yeah, overall, in terms of when it comes to the Aston Martin Vantage GR4, it's technically not a bad machine. I just think if I did that revamp style, it probably would fix a lot of problems for that car. But otherwise, where it sits at, it's so tame. It's so tame on the speed, so I might say speed that's kind of just not really there at the end of the day. Because yeah, acceleration wise, I would say Tekia 7 at least. It's just the speed is just not really there for that car, which is weird because it's a very slick machine. Because I love this style of the V8 Vantage too. Compared to the 2018 one, this looks a whole lot better because yeah, this looks firm and sleek. Where the problem about the 2018 one, it looked very soupy and droopy when you look at that. Cause like think about how you, I don't know what's the best way to think about it. I was just throwing a food joke for a second there. Think about how you put chocolate over a bang and try to make sure it doesn't have any air bubbles and stuff. That's what it kind of feels like for this, where it's a nice polished chocolate ball where oh goddamn. But basically it just kind of feels like that, where it's nice, rounded, and firm for this car, where the 2018 just looks droopy. It looks super droopy. Like especially those small headlights. I don't even know why they got that with a good deal on that. It looks terrible in comparison to the 2015 one in terms of look wise. But the V8 Vantage for the 2015 just looks absolutely better. And you also get that nice what's the best way to say it? It's like some kind of clip style. So I love the brake lights too. The brake light looks very sleek on this car in comparison as well. Where they just kind of simplified it. Because yeah, I think that's what happened in 2018. 2018 got very simplified in the process. But yeah, we're down to the last lap, and as you can see here, the Miata is about 10, I would say, I think it was like 7 or 10 seconds away. It was just basically teasing me at this point, because I figured it would like pit again, it didn't pit again, so yeah, just gonna have to take the loss on this one. As much as I usually mostly win the races, this one, it just tells you how bad performance the V8 Vantage is at the end of the day. And I need to show an instance where I also lose in the process, and this is one of those cases where if you go against something that's light, fast, and steery like the Miata, you might get your ass cooked at the end of it. You might just get your ass cooked, and especially if a person took control of this car, yeah, you're gonna get cooked like no tomorrow. But yeah, as the Mazda passes minute 10, which yeah, here's the best part, he wasn't even fucking moving that as fast either. I was doing minute 9s, and yet still didn't reach him at the end of the crazy. Just crazy stuff, man. Very crazy. Yeah, as we watch the rest here for a tad. So yeah, we got the Sierra, Silvia, and Truno. That's usually the perfect 5, with the E-Type 2 the other one. But yeah, that basically wraps that for the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. I hate to say for people who saw that at the end of it, but it is what it is sometimes. But tune in next time when I do the next Jimny, that is the Jimny Sierra. I am definitely changing the detail on this, but till then folks, you guys take care and ciao. Thanks for watching as always. Such. Also hit 150 by the way, you saw that.